All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Beta Bay Ball. I am your host, Justin Therio. Thank you for tuning in. Here's my draft reaction. First round of the NBA draft happened yesterday. Second round is later today at 8 o'clock. It was a fantastic draft. I watched on the ESPN, NBA on ESPN YouTube live stream, which was the numbers on the board cast, right? Kenny Beecham, Pierre, Mike, and D Mills, alongside Wendy, Brian Windhorst. It was a very good live stream. I read that a lot of people didn't really like the ESPN actual TV one, so I'm happy to, recommend that one. And I don't think they're going to be on again tonight. I know they're going to be on ESPN News, like their show, but next year. I assume they'll get that job again, and if I were you, I would tune in because it was really good coverage, in my opinion. With the first round coming to a close, I think it'd be really fun to sort of react to all these. Who do I think won the draft? Who do I think lost the draft? What pick surprised me? What pick did I really really like that maybe others didn't really care about or were neutral about? And how correct was my mock draft yesterday? Let's get rid of this little video. All right. Again, got the same format that I had last podcast where I'm screen recording. I got myself up in the top right corner this time instead of bottom right. And then, of course, if you're listening on Spotify, none of this matters to you. So, obviously, first overall pick was Cooper Flagg. Super, super predictable. We talked about it the other day. This is a guy that is leagues ahead of everybody else. He's going to provide amazing defense initially without them having any sort of ball handler. It'll be really fun to see him sort of grow offensively through the first, 3-4 months, maybe not 4 months, 3 months of the season. I'm not really ssure exactly when Kyrie Irving's going to be coming back, but until, Kyrie comes back, Cooper Flagg will have a relative, like a yellow light-ish on what he can do offensively. Obviously, they still have Anthony Davis, and there's other guys around him to help insulate him offensively, but he'll have a lot of, free range to do what he wants to do, and I think that'll really help him grow into himself as a player before Kyrie comes back. Because you got to remember, Cooper Flagg reclassed. So this past year at Duke, he was actually a high school senior. And then that means, obviously, this year in the NBA, he's a college freshman. Well, that wouldn't have been a big deal back in 2003 and 1996. It's a big deal now in today's NBA, where a lot of Americans are at least 19 years old as the NBA season gets started. Second overall pick was Dylan Harper to the Spurs. I feel like this kind of became chalk, right? Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper. Spurs, a lot of people thought they might trade this pick, but instead they don't overthink it. They go with Dylan Harper. I really like Dylan Harper. I think he's a fantastic basketball player. It'll be interesting to see how much the Spurs win. I think if the Spurs struggle throughout this season, we could see them trade De'Aaron Fox, get a decent return for him, and sort of, I don't want to say reset their timeline, but sort of reevaluate how close they are to competing for a Western Conference Finals appearance or anything like that. I still think this team has to grow internally in order to be able to compete for a championship, a finals. But Dylan Harper, though, fantastic player. I think it'll be really fun with this team. I thought the Spurs had a fantastic draft. This is not the only pick that I really liked from the San Antonio Spurs. So good pick here for the Spurs. It is what it is. We all expected it. 76ers go VJ Edgecombe. VJ, I would say, is either the third or fourth best player in this class. I think if you have him any lower than fourth, you just don't know him. And I didn't know a couple things about him, like his backstory. If you saw his quote that he gave after he was drafted, him and his mom lived on a generator for 7 years, and I thought that was really, really cool. Not cool in the way, obviously, that I'm saying, you know what I mean. It's cool that this kid is open about that. It's cool that this kid is a worker. He works really, really hard. He wants to become a better player. He wasn't some big-time high school recruit at first. He came out of the Bahamas, then Miami, then transferred to, I think it was Martin Lutheran, something like that in Long Island, New York, I think. I know it was definitely a New York high school. And eventually he worked his way up to being a great enough basketball player in high school to go to Baylor, one of my favorite college basketball teams, and he was really good there. Lots of good things said about him, his leadership ability, his accountability. Everything about him is great. His offense needs to come up come along a little bit, especially his shot. It's very slow. It's got a big dip in it. But I think that, the Sixers could fix that shot. I am a little worried about that because the Sixers tend to struggle to fix shots. I mean, remember the whole Markelle Fultz situation, but this is a different coaching staff. That was a long time ago. So you just got to hope that they don't break his shot and help him sort of improve it, here and there. And I think he'd be a really, really great player. I think he'll immediately start next to Tyrese Maxey this season. And with the way that the East is shaped up with all these injuries, I think the Sixers are a big boom or bust team this year. I think this is a team that at its best could be a top 3 seed in the East and finally make it through to the conference finals in the Eastern Conference, or at its worst, this team could experience tons of injuries again. Paul George could again take another step back. Embiid can again struggle with injury. Maybe he doesn't even play. That's a real possibility. And then you're stuck with 3 guards that are all really short, but they're all really young, and that'll be exciting. Obviously, I don't know if you can really play all 3 of them at a time. VJ is, shoulders are big enough, the strength is enough to play the 3, but you will have a very bad defensive backcourt with Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain. But Jared McCain is awesome. I really like McCain. He was amazing as a rookie last season before his injury. I think he only played 20 games, however, so it is a small sample size, but I'm excited for him to be back on the court. That is McCain. I am one that doesn't really like the 70s. Ooh, what was that? Screen just went black on me. I'm one that doesn't really like the 76ers. I'm a Celtics fan. I also don't like Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons. Those guys, I think my dislike of them comes from a different place rather than me just disliking the Sixers. Because I like Kelly Oubre, I like Tyrese Maxey, I like Jared McCain. I was never a Paul George guy, or a guy that didn't like Paul George. I was sort of neutral on him. Although I did think Podcast P did need to take a break last season when they were struggling, and he was still uploading the podcast. But yeah, I really like this pick for them. Thought it was a good one. Next up, Colin Knippel goes to there's a trade. Nets are trading pick 36 for the Suns for 2 seconds. We'll talk about the Nets, I promise you that. Colin Knippel, Hornets. Didn't expect this one. I thought Con was going to go... where did I have Con going? I had Con falling to 7 to the Pelicans. That wasn't the case. I do like this pick for the Hornets. I think it provides great spacing for this team. I think he'll be an amazing shooter immediately at the NBA level. I don't think he might have that first month as a rookie where he struggles, and he'll have his up and downs, but I think this is a guy who has good size for the defense. I don't think the defense is good or anything, but I think the size is there for it to be a neutral level defense. I think he's a fantastic shooter. I like him next to Brandon Miller. He's a guy that LaMelo Ball can kick the ball out to. I think it's a good pick, right? Last year you swung it and seems like you might have struck out on Tijan Salon, I think is how you say the name. This time you take the much more surefire prospect in Colin Knippel, and I really do like that. So good pick, I think, by the Hornets here, even though I thought Colin would go a little bit later. Ace Bailey tries to cheat the system. Doesn't work, ends up on the Jazz. Danny Ainge and his son, I think Austin Ainge is his name, in his first NBA draft, ever getting hired away from the Celtics. They just go out and they get themselves a wing. Ace Bailey is a fantastic athlete. I said VJ Edgecombe is either your 3rd or 4th prospect. I think in most worlds, Ace Bailey is also your 3rd or 4th prospect in terms of talent in this draft class, but I understand why a lot of people had him drop down on their draft boards simply because of his character, the people surrounding him, and is he going to buy into an NBA role? With the Jazz, you don't really have to worry about that, I think. I think there's not a lot of distractions out in Utah, obviously, and he has the runway. He wanted a runway to be a star, right? He wants to earn the max rookie extension. That's on the table in Utah. There's no one else out there, really, and now we'll talk about the other guys that they drafted, but you have Keontae George, who will have a reduced role. You have I'm blanking on his name, Isaiah Collier. You have Walker Kessler, who I do think will eventually be traded. Taylor Hendricks will be coming back this year. Hopefully he'll pick up where he left off, because I really like Taylor Hendricks, and it was a shame to see him go down last year with an injury. They have who was the other guy that I didn't like Kyle Filipowski. I didn't like him last year, but he had his moments in his rookie year. I didn't like him as a prospect, is what I meant. But yeah, Ace Bailey, I think, is a big swing or miss. This is a guy that it makes sense for the Jazz to draft. I actually did mock them taking Ace Bailey, and I don't want to pat myself in the back because I think other people did too, but not everybody, and I understood that. He really didn't want to go to the Jazz. He made it clear. He canceled meetings and workouts with the Jazz. He didn't want to be there. And he said in his he said it in his press conference. He didn't expect them to take him. I understand why, but I understand why the Angels took him. This is a kid that has the 1A upside that Utah desperately needs. Everybody on the roster currently doesn't have that, so you get that here with Ace Bailey. Wizards take Trey Johnson. I told my Wizards fan that I thought they would take him, and they did. I really like this pick for them. Trey Johnson is a fantastic shooter. I talked about it on the podcast on Tuesday. It's either Trey Johnson or Colin Knippel, who's one of those two guys is the best shooter in this class. I really like Trey Johnson as an offensive guy, and I think he's insulated by a lot of fantastic defenders, whether that is Bilal Coulibaly or Alex Sarr, and I think that he'll be able to come along under some good vets as well in Marcus Smart and Chris Middleton, CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum, I think, will be able to teach Trey Johnson a lot in terms of offense. And defensively, you have Marcus Smart. So if they hold on to both of those guys, the Wizards, I think Trey Johnson, I know this isn't 2K where you just learn a badge from a guy, but I do think that Trey Johnson could get really good coaching from those two guys. And there's a chance where Trey Johnson ends up being the third or fourth best player in this class. Next up was the Pelicans with Jeremiah Fears. I don't necessarily hate this pick, but I don't love it. Jeremiah is not a good defender. He's very short, but he's a fantastic shooter. I just think he needs to learn a bit more on the offensive end, and I am a little worried about how crowded that guard room is for them with Jordan Poole, and eventually DeJounte Murray will be coming back. They struggle on defense. Outside of the elite guys that they have Herb Jones and Trey Murphy, who are fantastic defenders individually, but the team as a whole is not good defensively. So I feel like adding Jeremiah Fears does not help that case. I don't see things going well for him down in New Orleans. But I've been around by tons of guys, so who knows. Next up is Igor Demin with the Nets. This one shocked me. I did not. Oh, yeah. I did not have Igor as a lottery pick. A lot of people didn't have Igor as a lottery pick. The Nets had a very funky draft. I think a lot of people, including myself, will tell you that. Igor, he's not much of an offensive threat. He's a fantastic passer, but we all know at the NBA level, if they don't respect you as an offensive, scoring threat, then you will not succeed. Even if you're a good passer. I mean, look at Scottie Pippen Jr. It took him a while to come along. Even though he's always, if you've ever watched Scottie Pippen Jr., when he was on the Lakers in his first few years, he was a good passer, good playmaker, but that didn't matter because nobody respected his scoring ability. This season when Ja Morant was out, he was amazing because he was able to score the basket, score buckets. Igor's defense is also atrocious. I understand teams like these tall point guards, but I would have gone a different direction if I wanted a tall point guard. I would not have gone Igor Demins. Next up is the Raptors with CMB, Colin Murray Boyles. I like this pick. I mocked this pick, I believe. Yeah, I mean, I did. And this is a guy, it made sense. He's a Raptors guy through and through. They love these wings. I don't know when they're going to stop drafting these wings because I don't know if Colin's going to be able to really score at the NBA level. He plays the same position as Scotty Barnes. I know they want Scotty to be able to do other things, play other positions. So this, I think, allows them to do that while still having somebody of quality at Scotty's position, the power forward. This is a Raptors team that's kind of stuck in limbo. They want to compete. They've clearly made a competitive basketball team. Emmanuel Quigley, RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, Jakob Poeltl, now Colin Murray Boyles. And I'm forgetting people too. Let's look up this Raptors roster really quick, guys, because with the way the East is shaken up, this Raptors roster has the ability to compete for definitely a playoff spot, but I do think it's worth noting that there's a lot of rumors that they will be trading RJ Barrett. So Ochai Agbaji, I like. Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, Chris Boucher, I think they'll probably trade at this deadline. A small salary on the last year of his deal, or $10 million, but not that big. Grady Dick, they're still bringing along. Brandon Ingram, Jonathan Mogbo, Emmanuel Quigley, yup. Jakob Poeltl, yup. Jamal Shed, I love. Great defensive guy. And Jacoby Walters as well. This is a team I expect to strongly be in the play, and I'd be shocked if they weren't. And with the East looking the way it does, who knows? Maybe they climb up. I would be shocked if they got top 6. So I don't think that happens. But Colin Murray-Boyles, I think, will be an immediate impact guy, and he'll play great defense. Then we got the Suns, who I think the Suns knocked this draft out of the park. So you trade Kevin Durant, you get the 10th overall pick back, which was major because you did not have a lottery pick this season or in this draft, and you really needed one. This is a lottery with a lot of talented players. It's kind of a slow decline after the top 3. So a lot of these guys from 4 or even outside the top 2 elite guys. So from 3 to 15, it was a lot of very good players that I can see having very exciting rookie seasons. A couple of them I think are swing and misses, but for the most part, I think 1 through 15 will be contributors to their rookie season. Most of them. So the Suns wanted a pick. They needed a pick in that lottery. They do. They get the 10th overall pick from the Rockets, and they use it on Kamal Malawach. I thought Malawach should have gone 4 to the Hornets, and we'll talk about them right here as well. Because the Suns take Malawach, they have no centers, right? It was just Nick Richards, Mason Plumlee. Mason Plumlee, not an NBA-level player at this point in his NBA career. I mean, he is, but he isn't. And the same can be said for Nick Richards. Nick Richards is a pure third-string center. I don't see him as anything otherwise, right? And a third-string center, and if he's your backup center, you don't have a good center room. So they draft, Kamal Malawach, which I love. I think Malawach will be a fantastic defender as soon as he steps foot into the NBA. He's got great hand-eye coordination, great feet. Is a kid that didn't play basketball until he was 13 years old. Grew up playing soccer, eventually became too tall for it, which is one of my favorite things that we're seeing now in the NBA. So many international players that didn't play basketball until they were 13, 14, 15 because eventually they grew out of their original sport being soccer. But yeah, Malawach, fantastic defender. The offensive game definitely has some ways to go, but if you watch him at Duke, he definitely has a little bit of touch. Like I could see him having that Isaiah Hartenstein push shot. I don't think it'll be as dominant as Hartenstein's at any point, but it is in there for Malawach, and he can anchor a defense. The center position is your most impactful defensively, or it very easily could be. It's the easiest. It's a position where it's most easy to affect the game defensively. Malawach, good person to have in that spot. And then the Suns traded a 2029 first-round pick, I think they traded 229 first. Let's look up the details of this trade so I don't butcher it for y'all. Suns trade for Mark Williams. So yeah, if you didn't know, they traded for Mark Williams, the guy who was a they traded this is what it was. It was 229s. The 29th overall pick in this year's draft. The Suns owned the rights to that. And then, what was I going to say? And then a 2029 first that was the least favorable of 3 teams, all of whom will likely be, it could end up being a very late second round pick. Yeah, Cavs, Timberwolves, and Jazz? All right. Wait, okay. Is this not new? It is, okay. The Phoenix Suns traded for Charlotte Hornets center Mark Williams on draft night, getting the 29th overall pick, like I just mentioned, and a 2029 first round pick. That is who, and the Hornets used that on Liam McNeely. The 2030, wait. Okay, now, where is this first? There was details on this first. Why are they not including it in... Dude, why do people do this? Why are you making an article and not including, like, the details of what the second first... Because it's the least favorable of I think the Cavs and the Timberwolves and somebody else. Okay. 2029 will be the least favorable of Cleveland, Utah, and Minnesota's first-round picks, and it is 1 through 5 protected. So even if Utah is terrible that year, it will not be a top 5. It'll go back if it's top 5. And then I think that you just hope that Utah has it together in 4 years from now, and that first round pick that you traded away ends up being in the teens or late or 20s, which is very stomachable for acquiring Mark Williams. Now, if you're the Suns, you have your offensive center Mark Williams, who you are still super concerned about his injury history. Obviously, the physical from the Lakers was absolutely horrendous. He failed it. One of the few times you'll ever see an NBA trade rescinded for a failed physical. But he provides you offense from the center position. He's a fantastic screener, a fantastic roller. He can finish lobs. I personally am a big fan of Mark Williams. He's a fantastic offensive rebounder, and so is Malawach. So I think your rebounding just got way better. I don't think it's great or anything, but it just got a lot better, and you just got a lot more, defense and offense from the center position. Although I don't know if both those guys will play at the same time. I am interested in seeing it. Now you have Dillon Brooks as well. So I thought this was a really good draft for the Suns, and it really helped them retool this roster rather quickly. I don't know if they're really going to be able to compete in the West for a playoff spot. I don't know what the record was this season in games without KD and with Booker, but I know it wasn't great. And that was no shame on Booker. I think Booker's a fantastic NBA player. Definitely a top 20 player, probably top 15, definitely for Devin Booker. But Jalen Green, Bradley Beal do not inspire confidence. That wing rotation doesn't inspire a ton of confidence. And I like the center upgrades, but it's not like this uber elite center room. So, but anyways, good pick right there from the Suns. Next up, Cedric Howard to the Trailblazers. This one is one I didn't get right. I had Carter Bryant going here, but it's the same mold of players. A good wing, a guy that's going to come along slowly for this team, going to provide really good defense for the Blazers. This Blazers team is in this randomly win now moment with the Drew Holiday trade. Cedric Howard, well, he might not provide much offense his first season. He's a freak athlete. He's out of Arizona. I like Arizona guys. I think if you can convince Cedric Howard to play into a certain NBA role, he could do it really well over the course of his career. So I like this pick for the Blazers. Next up is the Bulls with Noah Asingé. I like this pick for them. Just seeing who I mocked for the Bulls. I had them going with Asa Anul, but I still like the Noah Asingé pick. A forward out of France, and let's pull him up here. Asingé stands at 6'10". He's got a 7'1" wingspan. I know he kind of throws his body around wildly. That's what a lot of people say, but he's a really good wing. He's a guy that unfortunately kind of fits into the Patrick Williams mold, so you hope he's a lot better than that. But it's it'll be fun to see what he does for the Bulls. Even with the way the East is shaped up next season, I still don't see this Bulls team as anything other than a 9-10 or lesser seed. Like, if there wasn't a plan, I don't think the Bulls compete at all. So that kind of sucks. I think there were better guys available. I would have liked Derek Queen was still available at this point, so was Carter Bryant. You could have traded back and still gotten guys that I liked as well and acquired more assets. In fact, they traded back today, 10 picks, just to get cash, something they continue to do. They really need to sell that team. The ownership group does. Next pick from the Pelicans. They make a trade with the Kings to trade up and get Derek Queen. I don't like this pick per se. I like Derek Queen a lot, but he's not a good defender. It's going to take some time. He likes to play face up at the basket. He's not really a true 5. So who's your 5, right? Are you really going to play this guy next to Zion? I'm a big Derek Queen fan. I really, really am. I love that March Madness run he went on. I love Derek Queen, but he's a fun kid. He's a good follow on Twitter, but just not what I want for the Pelicans. It seems like Joe Dumars really might rip up the studs on this team, right? I could see a world where they end up trading one of Trey Murphy and Herb Jones, or maybe even both. I could see a world where I think you have to trade Zion this season if you're going to develop Derek Queen. So this, along with the Jeremiah Fears draft pick, I did not like for the Pelicans. I think the Pelicans are one of 2 losers in this NBA draft for sure. Who am I to call you a loser? Both these guys could be great. The Pelicans could pivot with the trades they make, but as of right now, I don't like this trade. Next up is the Spurs. They stay put at 14. The pick they got from the Hawks in the DeJounte Murray trade, and they get Carter Bryant. I really like Carter Bryant for this team. I thought Carter Bryant was going to go a little bit higher, like I said, to the Trailblazers. Carter Bryant fits into the Cedric Howard role that I just talked about. Bryant will provide immediate defensive impact. He plays fun and good basketball above the rim. I think he'll fit in with everybody else on that team. The Spurs just continue to add very good talent. I think the Spurs, you want to talk about the Trailblazers kind of trying to compete all of a sudden. We knew the Spurs were going to try to compete. They've obviously been trying to compete for some time, and they would have tried to push for a play-in spot last year had Wemby not gone down and De'Aaron Fox wasn't dealing with an injury and whatnot. But I'm not that I think they're in for a Rockets jump, right, where the Rockets went from 11 to 2, but I do think the Spurs team is in for a jump, and I do see them jumping teams. Let's pull up the West standings from last year. Maybe we'll talk NBA Western Conference. I do think we see them jumping a few teams that were ahead of them. Most specifically, like the one that comes to mind first is the Memphis Grizzlies, who have been retooling this roster, and they're kind of a weird limbo spot. I do see the Spurs jumping the Kings. I'm curious to see if the Clippers keep it up, because last year I thought the Clippers were going to be terrible, and they ended up being pretty good. They probably jumped the Trailblazers and the Suns, so I could see this team pushing for a non-play-in spot. But last year that required 48 wins, so that would require, or 49 wins, excuse me. So that would require a 15-win improvement. I don't know if the Spurs are in for a 15-win improvement, but draft picks like that, like this one and Carter Bryant, make that a possibility. Next up, the Thunder get Thomas Sorber. This is a draft pick from the Heat through the Clippers. Don't know how that works, but it does. Thomas Sorber, I like this kid. Grew into his frame. He's going to come into the NBA. I think it's the 7th. Definitely a top 10 heaviest guy in the NBA. As Isaiah Hartenstein eventually leaves this Thunder team in a few years with that contract expiring, Thomas, I think, will step right into his position. This is a Thunder team that is going to continue to shed salary throughout the years. Not right now. Like, everybody on that championship team is coming back. That's why this draft was really interesting for the Thunder, because they already had 15 guaranteed contracts for next season. So there's a chance that we see a lot of Sorber in the G League next year. But I like this pick for them. I think he can provide good defense. This is a guy that can, moves really well for his size. I don't think he's going to be a total, utter, terrible defender out on the perimeter. Like, I think he can hang on some lesser than guards. And I really like it. I really do for the Thunder. Next up, the most surprising pick of the first round, bar none. The Trailblazers trade with the Memphis Grizzlies. And they go out and they get Hussein Yang. This was the Grizzlies pick that they got through the Desmond Bane trade. Hussein Yang, I didn't even know this kid's name. The craziest thing that people have said about him is he's the Chinese Jokic. He played in the CBA, the Chinese Basketball Association. This is just the fourth actual first-round pick to come out of that league. I'm blanking on the third name, but I know that Yao Ming and Emmanuel Mudiay are two guys that came out of that league. Yang, garbage defender. Do not believe any hype around his defense. He's a good shot blocker, but I don't see that really translating to the NBA. Guys are going to go around him. He's not going to be used to the speed and the talent in the NBA. This is a guy that I don't really know how I feel about this pick. I don't think I like it, and it's not Yang's fault per se. Yang is now in a situation where, why are the Blazers drafting another center? They still haven't gotten rid of Aiden. They still haven't gotten rid of Robert Williams. And now you're drafting what would be a backup for Donovan Clingan, because there's no way these two guys can be on the floor at the same time. Clingan is slow. He's not a good transition defender. Guys his size just aren't, unless you're a freak of nature like Chet Holmgren or Victor Wembanyama. But Clingan's still a good defender. He's a good paint defender. He's a good paint presence. And Yang is not a terrible paint presence, I don't think, but he's not good in the pick and roll defense. He's a little jumpy. He can't play out on the perimeter. I think guards, even not talented guards, we talk about Igor Demin not being a good scorer. I think Igor Demin would take his lunch money out on the perimeter. I think he's a fantastic passer. He's able to fool guys with his eyes. He's fun to watch if you look up his highlights. But he's fun to watch in the Chinese Basketball Association. I don't think he'll be a fun watch with the Trailblazers. They traded back with the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies were the ones that traded up and took Oh no, wasn't it the Grizzlies that traded up and took Cedric Howard? Why don't they have that down? Yeah, it was Cedric. I'm an idiot, yo. I'm sorry for making a fool out of myself. That's right. The Blazers did not take Cedric Howard. It was the Grizzlies that traded Cedric Howard. So shout out sportingnews.com for not having this updated. Thanks, guys. But Cedric Howard, what I said about him still applies for the Grizzlies. He's what would be your Dylan Brooks replacement. So good pick for the Grizzlies. I do like that pick for the Grizzlies. Now back to the Trailblazers, because I'm pretty pissed that they don't have that here on this stupid website. Yang, bad pick for the Trailblazers. I don't like it. I know, it's not all that easy to trade back, especially once you've already done it once, but felt like you could have waited to take Yang. Next up, the Timberwolves. Actually, let's just use this website so I can trust that all these trades are updated. They took Yohan Beringer, a center out of France. He's got some developing to do, but I do like him. Minnesota has always done very well in these mid-first round picks, so I think Beringer will be a successful player as well. He comes in and is going to provide insurance for you when eventually you move off Rudy Gobert, or more likely you move off Naz Reid. This is a guy that I think could probably play the power forward. How tall is he? 7 feet. Okay, so nearly 7 feet. So maybe not. Maybe he's not going to be able to play the power forward, but I do like this pick. He's a more of a defensive-minded guy, which Naz Reid is not, so I do think that's a good pick for Minnesota. Next up, the Washington Wizards trade the draft rights to Walter Clayton Jr. to the Utah Jazz. I like this pick. It makes sense that Danny Ainge likes Walter Clayton Jr., but at the same time, Clayton Jr. is an older guy. This kind of, to me, ends the experiment on Keontae George. I like Clayton Jr. more than I like Keontae George right now. I hope that we continue to see Isaiah Collier get a chance in the NBA. I think he's a fantastic point guard, led all rookies in assists, but that's going to be more difficult with Clayton. Clayton, he's not the best passer in the world, but I think his passing is underrated, and I think his ability to score is fantastic. He's a very natural scorer. Everything looks really fluid with him, so I like this pick for the Utah Jazz. I think he'll pair very nicely with Ace Bailey. Next up, the Brooklyn Nets took Nolan Traore. I don't understand this pick. You already drafted Igor Demon, so now you've taken 2 point guards. I like Traore. This is a guy who last season was expected to be a top 5 pick. He struggled with turnovers this season in his league. I think he was either in a German or a French league. He was playing somewhere in Europe. I like him, but he's definitely got some room to grow, and he's not going to be able to do that considering all the dumb draft picks that Brooklyn made in this one. I have no issue with Brooklyn taking in 5 first-rounders. I would have preferred 4. You could have gotten some seconds for one of those draft picks and then use those seconds to trade up in a couple seasons down the line, but I just don't like this for Brooklyn. It's nothing on Traore. I just think Brooklyn had a pretty ugly draft. Next up, Kasparis Yakinchonis. I always struggle with his name. I like this pick for Miami. I'm happy they didn't take some older prospect. I was really worried they were. I know they really wanted Walter Clayton. It sounded like they had made him a promise. He just didn't fall to them. Yakinchonis fell far in this class. I expected him to be a top 10 pick. Actually, no. I expected him to be the 13th overall pick and be the backup ball handler for the Hawks. Instead, he'll be the point guard for the Heat. I like this for them. I don't really know how I feel about the guard situation in Miami. If memory serves me right, I can't even... Is Tyler Hero really their point guard? Because I don't think he's a good point guard. So let's look up their depth chart, because I think I'm blank. I know they have Terry Rozier. I know that they have Tyler Hero, but I can't think of the other guards that they have on this. Oh, Davion Mitchell, but I think he's out on the market, so they have to bring him back. But Davion Mitchell isn't this point guard, right? Davion Mitchell is a guy you'd rather, and Davion Mitchell also started at the 2 guard for them. So I don't know. This team's in a weird position. Jaime Jaquez is totally falling off a cliff, which I could have told you was going to happen. Don't draft guys like Jaime Jaquez. Terry Rozier has been unbelievably garbage. So trash since arriving in Miami, and I just don't like Tyler Hero as a 1. So you could slide Hero back to the 2. You could put Yakinchonis in at the starting point guard. You can take Davion Mitchell and make him your 6th man, and that way you have Duncan Robinson, Davion Mitchell, Nikola Jovic coming off your bench, as well as Terry Rozier if he can get his crap together Alec Burks as well, Pelle Larsson, who played a lot last year, Kyle Anderson too, and if they keep Andrew Wiggins, I think that's all really good. And there is plenty of rumors that they might be in the, if Ja Morant gets traded, I think he gets traded to Miami. Like they've been striking out a lot. Pat Riley has with Miami, but I think he finally lands his big time trade if they do make one, getting Ja Morant. So that's my offseason prediction for you right there. Will Riley going to the Washington Wizards. This is a huge swing for the Wizards, but I really like it. Riley will get time to develop in Washington. I think he'd be a fantastic player in this class. This was a guy who you thought there was a chance maybe he went back to college, but instead he stays in the class, and I really, really like this for the Wizards. They continue to push that youth movement. I think Riley will be able to play in that front court alongside Sarr and is it? It's not Keontae George. Yeah, it is Keontae George. I like that. I like that a lot for Wizards. Excuse me. Brooklyn Nets take Drake Powell. I don't really like this one. Powell has good feel for the game. He's a decent defender, but he has one of the bigger projects in this draft class. He really, truthfully is. And you're gonna make a guy who's a project play with a crap ton of inexperience. Like just there's so many guys on this Nets team that have shown you basically nothing. I just don't know where he's going to slide in. Claxton needs to go for this guy to get more minutes. I just hate all of it. I really hate this Brooklyn Nets draft class. And I thought I was going to like it because I liked the idea of bringing 4 guys when your team is as open as the Brooklyn Nets team was. But I feel like they've gone I feel like they went 0-5 in this draft. The Pelicans trade the 23rd pick to the Atlanta Hawks. That was part of that trade where they traded up earlier. And the Hawks go with Asa Anul. I really like this pick. Asa is a Georgia guy, so he stays in state. I think he'll provide excellent backup center minutes. I think he'll develop very nicely, and I'm excited for them to enter. What's his name? I'm blanking on the center's name. Played with LaMelo Ball in high school. What's his name? You know who I'm talking about. Who's that center? I hate myself right now. How am I blank? Hawks center. So obviously they have Clint Capella, but they'll be moving on from him. Who is... and they obviously traded for Kristaps Porzingis, which happened when I got off the other day. Didn't another trade happen when I got off the pod? I don't like the Porzingis trade for the Celtics. I thought George Niang was a terrible return for him. I would have attached Sam Hauser or even a little bit of draft capital to get somebody a little bit better than Niang. Niang also has left a terrible taste in a lot of Celtics fans' mouth with the Jaylen Brown play, with the trash talk. So not a fit. Nneka Okongwu, that's what I was thinking of. So I did not like the Porzingis trade. It was a total salary dump. Excuse me. So good on the Nets and the Hawks for getting in on it. But at the same time, that Brooklyn Nets pick that they got out of that was terrible. The 22nd overall pick, which they used on Drake Powell. Asa Newell, though, good pickup for the Hawks. Nick Clifford going to the Kings after the Kings traded up with the Thunder to get the 24th overall pick. I like this trade for the Kings, but at the same time, I hate the Kings roster, so poor Nick Clifford. There's going to be a lot of turnover going on around him. I saw a report that there might be a trade. There might be a trade between the Kings and the Celtics. Sabonis for Jaylen Brown. I doubt that happens, and I would hate that trade. Jace Richardson goes to Orlando. If I had done a full first-round mock, I would have mocked that. I really like that pick. I like Jace Richardson going to a team where his defense doesn't matter, his height doesn't matter, and just his outside shot and his offensive ability is what they're looking for from him, and I think he can deliver that as a rookie. Ben Seraph, next pick to the Brooklyn Nets. I hate this pick. Why did you draft Igor Demon if you were going to draft Ben Seraph? I think Ben Seraph is a good playmaker. I think he can play defense, but at the same time, I'm not really sold on his scoring ability. It feels a lot like Igor Demon, and I didn't like the Igor pick. So, again, they're swinging and missing. And then they drafted Danny Wolf. I don't hate Danny Wolf. I think he's got a good offensive game, but I question that defense, and I wonder how well the offensive game will transfer to the next level. Hugo Gonzalez to the Boston Celtics at 28th. I don't really know anything about Hugo Gonzalez, so I really was not a fan of this pick. I really wasn't. He had terrible averages. They say he's a talented prospect. high motor wing, but they already had. I felt like they should have gone. If you want to go high motor wing here, I wish they had gone Rasheer Fleming. I would have much preferred that. I really struggle to see where he's going to play, considering Jordan Walsh is still on the Celtics. So I did not like this pick for the Boston Celtics. I really did not. Phoenix Suns, they traded this pick to the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets take Liam McNeely. I like this pick for the Hornets. You get two guys who I think will develop very nicely, Conkanipple and Liam McNeely. I think Liam will succeed in Charlotte. It will take him some time to adjust, but I think he'll be a good guy coming off this bench for this team. This is a team in the Hornets that have just made bad draft pick after bad draft pick. So in this one, I think 2 quality draft picks for the Hornets. So I would give this Hornets draft like a B. I don't want to say they're a winner, but they're definitely not they're definitely like a winner of sorts. And then the Clippers take Yannick Kahnert-Hauser. I don't know this guy. I have never heard of this guy in my life. 2 years at Northern Illinois, Penn State, productive campaign, 6'11", 243, so he will provide backup center minutes to one of my favorite centers in what's his name? I'm forgetting his name, and I like him a lot. He was a big reason why I said the Clippers were a dark horse to make it to the finals, even though they didn't have one of the better Jokic defenders in the league. How can I not? This is the second time now that this podcast where I've Zubac. I think this is a good backup for. This could be a good backup for Zubac, but I don't really think. I think there was probably better guys on this board. First picks up tonight will be Wolves, Celtics, Hornets. Even though I do think the Hornets might have just traded one of those picks. Yeah, pick 36. Oh, it was traded by the Nets. Excuse me. So I would like... Let's look at who the best guys still on the board is. Do I have anything like that open? NBA best second round picks. Let's see if that'll help me. Yeah, here's a mock draft for tonight from ESPN. Who do they think is going to go? Rasheer Fleming, would love that. I thought Rasheer should have been a first-round pick. I thought it was gross that he wasn't. I think he's better than a lot of guys that went in the first round. I'm kind of going on a rant here, but I really like Rasheer Fleming, one of the few guys I've ever seen. I got to see in person. Liam McNeely is one of those guys as well, but I would have rather had Rasheer Fleming than Hugo Gonzalez. I would have rather had Rasheer Fleming than Danny Wolf. I would have rather had him than Ben Seraph. I would have rather had him than Drake Powell. So, yeah. I think it's BS that he wasn't a first-round pick, and I think whoever gets him tonight, it's a huge steal. Then they had the Celtics going with Maxine. I don't think I'm saying this name right, but Maxine Renaud. So they didn't say he didn't commit to the game until his senior year of high school, blossomed force, so he's an older prospect, older center. I like this draft pick for the Celtics because I think they needed a center. That's why I really, really don't like the Hugo Gonzalez pick, because I thought the Celtics picks, but at 28 and now here at 32, should have been a point guard and a center, and true point guard and a true center. The Celtics lack a true point guard right now. Peyton Pritchard's game is a 6-man game. It's not a point guard game. And then Derek White, Anthony Simons, Jaylen Brown, great guards, yes, but they are not point guards. So I don't like that for the Boston Celtics right now. Okay, will it scroll for me? Why is it not scrolling? I think it's crashed. Here we go. Ryan Cockburner. I'd honestly rather have Ryan Cockburner than this Renaud kid. Cockburner would be a good pickup for the Hornets. The Hornets they traded... Since they traded, what's his name? Since they traded Mark Williams, I don't think they drafted a center, right? I didn't say they drafted a center, right? Yeah, so I would like that pick for them. They definitely need center play. Then they have them going Noah Penda. Tyrese Proctor. I like Proctor, but I don't like him to the Sixers. Again, you are just taking another tiny guard. I don't like that for the Sixers. I do Terrio, shout out that last name, power forward to Phoenix. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, didn't they? Wait. Who did they do? Who did the Nets trade that pick to? Did they trade it? Okay, yeah, so this is really updated. That would be fine by me. I think the Suns can use another wing. Chaz Lanier, really don't know much about him. They say he's a super senior, so he'd have to be an immediate impact guy for the Pistons, but I don't know if you want to draft an immediate impact shooting guard. Jameer Watkins, senior, looks like a wing, 23 years old, a secondary ball handler, so I do like that, but how good is your handle if you're a second-round pick when they really do need a secondary ball handler more than ever right now in Indiana? As I scroll through this, I really don't know anything about these guys, so I'm not going to really comment on it. Johnny Broome, super senior to the Thunder. I wouldn't hate it, but I just want to see the floor. And by the time he does, he'd be so old. Australian kid to the Lakers. That's cool. Cam Jones, a guy that was projected to go to the end of the first, could fall to mid-second. I would really like this pick for the Magic. Again, provides outside shooting, provides ball handling, would be a good Cole Anthony replacement. And I'm just not seeing anything else that I really care for in this mock draft here. Ryan Eberhard, the last pick of the draft to the Phoenix Suns. I don't hate that. There's your true point guard. Here, let's look at the ringers, draft winners and losers. Like I said as well, they agree. Joe Dumars, loser, did not like at all what we saw. They moved up 10 picks, trading away the number 23 pick to and a 2026 unprotected first. That's right. That will be the best of either the Pelicans or the Bucks. I hate that. One of those two teams won't have a good season. I think it'll be the Pelicans more so than it'll be the Bucks. But I think that's a terrible. You're basically 2 firsts to get Derek Queen when you still have Zion. I don't like that for them. Yeah, and you took very 2 polarizing prospects, so I get why they don't like it. I'm not a Fierce guy. I'm more of a Queen guy, but I don't like the fit for Queens. Okay, winner VJ Edgecombe. Yes, everybody fell in love with the story, and I think he'll be good with the Sixers. Loser, like I said, Ace Bailey. I think he's a winner, and he doesn't realize it yet. He tried to screw with the NBA draft process, and you know how sports owners go, so they kind of punish him for it. But I think he'll work out well in Utah. So, while he might be a loser to last night, I think he'll be a winner in the future. Winner Atlanta Hawk. I agree. You added a first-round pick next year, Dyson Daniels. And then you added Asa Anul as well as Porzingis and a salary dump. I think this has been a very good couple days for the Hawks, and I think the Hawks will probably be the biggest jumper in the Eastern Conference next year. Let's actually look at the Eastern Conference standings and who I think they can jump with all the injuries. I really like them. I like them this year. They kind of disappointed me. Jalen Johnson obviously got hurt, so we'll see where they go. But next year, obviously the Celtics will fall. Obviously the Pacers will fall. I don't know if the Bucks will fall because they were so bad this season at times, but I do like even with Dame, but I do think Giannis can carry this team. And I do think this team, if they sign like a Trey Jones, will be just fine, and Giannis can keep them in the playing range. I expect internal improvement from the Pistons. I expect the Magic to be better. I don't know what's going on with the Heat. And obviously they had more wins than the Heat. In fact, they finished as the 8th seed. So I think they could jump. I think they can jump the. I don't know. I think this could be a 50-win team, which would put them as the 4 seed. So I think they could jump the Pacers for sure. I think they can probably jump the Celtics. The more I look at the Celtics roster, the more I hate it. I love Jaylen Brown, but this team doesn't have a true point guard. Your starting center is about to be either Xavier Tillman or Neemias Queta or a 39-year-old Al Horford, or it's going to be some random kid you draft, which it won't be. Your wing depth is terrible, unproven offensively, unproven in general. So yeah, and your defense has downgraded as well. So I think there's a real chance the Hawks jump. And they're only 1 win back of the Magic. So if the Hawks really do improve, like if Onyeka Okongwu improves, if Porzingis can find a way to be healthy, if Caris LeVert continues to add a boost and a punch off the bench, if Trae Young is Trae Young, Jalen Johnson improves because Jalen Johnson is awesome, and then obviously second overall or first overall pick last year, second to rookie of the year, Zachary Richardson, and then defensive player of the year, Dyson Daniels. This is a really good Hawks roster, and I think this Hawks team could definitely be a non-playing team for once next season. I don't think they'll be in the conference finals or anything like that, but I think they will make a massive jump next season. So we'll go back to that article. Massive center rotations, yup. We talked about it with the Suns adding centers. I saw this tweet, yup. It was Jake Fisher that made that tweet. Brooklyn Nets, I agree. Talked about, I don't think that makes them a loser. I actually thought Orlando was a winner tonight. I thought they I disagree with that. I don't think this matters. I think you still have those guys that are tall and defensive. I just think that you added much, much, much needed offense. So I don't think Orlando's a loser at all. Obviously, Duke's a winner. They win every year. Yeah. So that is my thoughts on the first round. Let's see how I did on my mock real quick. Let's just check. 1 for 1, 2 for 2, 3 for 3, and then 3 for 4, 4 for 5, 5 for 6. So I'm at 5 for 6 on the first 6 picks, then 5 for 7, and then I don't think I got 6 for 9. So I went 6 for 10 in the top 10. And then I didn't get another one right going forward. But yeah, this was a really fun first round. I think the Summer League's going to be super exciting. Guys like Dylan Harper, VJ Edgecombe, Connor Nipple, Ace Bailey, Trey Johnson. I guess Jeremiah Fear is more so of like a watch, like, ooh, can he be good? What will we see? And then like a watching, with your eyes through your fingers, Igor Demon. I don't really care to watch Colin Murray Boyles. I don't think his game will be super exciting in terms of the Summer League. More so, how will he contribute to an actual NBA team during the regular season? Come on, Mala watch. He'll be fun to watch. Cedric Coward will be fun to watch with the Grizzlies. I think that will make that lineup a lot more fun. You'll see Jalen Wells slide over to the 2. Noah Asingay, it'll be weird. It'll be interesting to watch him in the Summer League. How far is his offensive game? Derek Queen will be fun to watch in the Summer League because he won't be playing next to Zion. He will not be fun to watch during the regular season. Carter Bryant, who cares to watch a guy that, again, just like Cedric Coward, is more of a guy that'll be a contributor in the regular season when teams are actually trying to win games. Thomas Sorber will be fun to watch with a ton of just guys that you'll never see again for the Thunder. Hassan Yang, that'll be really fun to watch. That is probably the most interesting guy to watch because a lot of people, including myself, have never really seen him play outside of highlights. So I'm very excited to watch Hassan Yang in the Summer League. Yohan Berenger, that'll be fun to watch. Walter Clayton Jr. is always fun to watch. Will Riley, Drake Powell, okay. Yeah, so that's about it. I'm really excited for Summer League. I think it begins on July 10th or something like that. I'm excited for the second round of the draft. Really the guy that I'm most excited to see where he lands. We'll go back up real quick, guys. I'm excited to see where Rasheer Fleming lands. Obviously, as a Celtics fan, I'm excited to see who the Celtics go with at 32. Do they take a center? Is it Cockburner? Is it this Renaud kid? Or do they go point guard? How do the Hornets, who I think have had a good draft, could they become winners? Like, could landing a Cockburner make them a winner? If Rasheer Fleming falls to them at 33, I think that's a slam dunk. And I think if they get him or Cockburner, they're a draft winner in my eyes. I think Sixers don't draft Tyrese Proctor, but I am interested to see where Proctor goes. I would really like to see Proctor land with the Celtics. So that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Beta Bay Ball. I'm your host, Justin Theriault. It means a lot when you guys listen to this, watch this. It really does mean the world to me. Second round, 8 o'clock tonight on June 26th. I'm actually going to be out of commission for a little bit. I'm getting all 4 of my wisdom teeth removed at 8 a.m. tomorrow, so that's going to be absolutely brutal. God knows when I'll be recording another podcast because Monday I'll be back in the office for my internship, Tuesday as well. Wednesday I have a Red Sox game to go to, which will be brutal with given my surgery. And then Thursday I'll be back at work at the cafe. Friday I'll be working because it'll be a July day. July 4th, so I know I'll be working then. I know I'm working July 5th, and I have I'm going to the RFC game for the fireworks and to cover that for Rhode Island Monthly, so that'll be really exciting. Sundays, I always work. Monday and Tuesday, again, with the internship, so I might not be back until Monday, Tuesday of next week. By then, we'll be getting pretty close to Summer League, so maybe I'll wait right until, I'll pull it up on my laptop right here. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. So I could probably record a podcast on the 9th or maybe the 11th of July, but the 11th will be at the start of Summer League. So maybe I'll record one on the 11th or the 9th, one of the two, talk about who to again look for in the Summer League, guys in their second year, or on the 11th and sort of react to what we've seen through the first day of Summer League. Anyways, like I said, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Beta Bay Ball. I'm your host, Justin Theriault, and I'm wishing you a fantastic, maybe 2 weeks until I make my return. Love y'all. Peace.